Hello, everybody. I'm so sorry to be doing this to you again. This flu just won't let me go. This video is going to go very quickly, but I think that's going to be okay because you've already read the summary to the epic, books 5 through 10, like I asked you to, and you've already got the epic in front of you, and you have the slides themselves called Iliad 4. So all this video is going to do is give you the high points, and you have the quiz already emailed to you so you can actually answer the quiz while you're watching the video, okay? Just a quick note for Friday. Please make sure that you have your rough drafts printed off and ready to go because we'll do peer editing in class. That should take about 10 minutes tops. So don't worry, the groups will also present, okay? If for whatever reason a group doesn't get to present on Friday, we'll just pick that up on Monday. I'm so sorry we're going this fast. Unfortunately, as soon as we finish the Iliad, we're ready to take our first test, which is a little bit earlier than we had in the syllabus. I will give you an entire day for review, but if I were you, I would download that study guide on Test 1, study guides, and make sure you can identify every major term there, okay? We'll talk more about that Friday and later when we review. When last we left, as Menelaus and Paris had a duel. Obviously Menelaus had won because Paris had run away and then had been whisked away by Aphrodite to Helen's bedchamber. So when that happened at the end of the duel, a truce was called because everybody kind of thought that was the end of the war. So nobody's fighting at this point. And in Book 4, Zeus wants the war to end right then. He's kind of sick of it. It's been going on for 9 years. But his wife Hera doesn't think that the Trojans have been punished enough. Remember, she doesn't like the Trojans very much because they didn't choose her for the beauty contest. So she wants the war to continue. She asks Athena to do something to get the war started again. So Athena sends an archer named Pandarus down to shoot at Menelaus. Now, he misses Menelaus, but by shooting at him, it starts the war all over again. Because again, it's a Greek shooting, a Trojan shooting at a Greek. So the battle resumes. Agamemnon gives a pep talk to his people that we can do this. We're these fabulous Greek warriors. We're going to move forward. And then Athena helps the Greeks. Apollo helps the Trojans. And why is all that important? Because, again, it exemplifies the fact that the gods seem to view this as a big chess game. They see this as a playground where they're entertaining themselves with the human mortality, basically. I think that's a really good essay topic. So you could look at the cowardice. If I were writing an essay, I could write about, is Paris a coward? Or is he just human? Is he a fallible human? We shouldn't condemn him. Is it possible that Hera is a coward because she wants things done, but she has other people do her dirty work? Is there any sense of honor among Menelaus or Hector? Obviously, the role of gods and freedom of will. It looks like these humans don't really have free will. So is that true? And also you'll notice that the way Homer writes it, he doesn't really seem to condemn the Trojans or the Greeks. There's not really a villain. So he's kind of like he's the first journalist, if you will. He's objective. He's just stating fact. So that's interesting, because he was a Greek, but he doesn't seem to condemn the Trojans. So all of this picks up in Book 5. Pandarus the archer has wounded a Greek named Diomedes. Now, Diomedes is one of your quiz questions and also a test question. He's a very powerful Greek warrior, not quite as good as Achilles, but he's pretty good. So he kind of wants to take this opportunity that Achilles is out of the war to make himself shine. So he prays to Athena for superhuman powers, so he can be Achilles' proctor in battle. And Athena advises him, yes, I'll give you superhuman powers, but please make sure you don't wound the gods, because the gods are going in and out of these battle at will. So don't wound the gods. Well, he becomes almost rabid with power, and he immediately wounds Aeneas, who's Aphrodite's son, and then Aphrodite, and then finally Apollo. Apollo doesn't like this at all. He's a Greek god. So as soon as that happens, he sweeps Diomedes out of the war, and Aphrodite whisks Aeneas, her son, out of the war, and it kind of shows that the gods, again, they don't mind playing with the mortals as long as they don't get wounded. So all of this is happening on the battlefield. The battle rages on. You see a lot of cataloging of who's wearing what and what armor, what army has what. Book 6, I think, is a very important book if you'd like to write an essay about it. It's a very touching scene where Hector goes home. Now remember, Hector is the son of the Trojans, so he's Paris's brother. He goes back to Troy to ask his mother, Hecuba, and all of the Trojan women to pray for him, because the Greeks are overpowering them in battle. Even though Achilles is gone, he feels like they're being overpowered. While he's there, so he asks the women to pray for them. He berates Paris for being a coward and not fighting, and then he also discusses the war with Helen. And Helen at one point says, I wish that I had been born, basically. I wish that I had died before this happened. But since the gods have ordained these evil things, I wish I'd been a wife to a better man, someone sensitive to others' insults, with feelings to as many shameful acts. So she says, I wish I were a better person. I wish I'd never been born. So you could argue that she's redeemable. She regrets what happened. You could also argue this proves right here, where she says, I wish I'd not married my husband, that her relationship with Paris is one of free will. That Aphrodite did not make that happen. It was her own will. She then wants Hector to come sit down, and he doesn't want to sit down and talk with her, because he'd rather go visit Andromache, his wife, and his son, Astyanax. Now, it's an important scene for two reasons. One, some scholars have argued that Helen is kind of flirting with Hector a little bit, and he wants no part of it. So you could argue there's something with Helen's character there. Or you could just say that she just wanted to sit down and talk to him because she's feeling bad about what happened. She's a Greek in a Trojan camp. She's feeling pretty lonely. The second important part of the scene is when he goes to visit his wife. So Helen and Paris have this weird relationship. We're not really sure if it's true or not. We're not really sure if it's based on love. But we know that Hector's relationship with his wife, Andromache, is 100 based. It's 100% love. He loves his wife. He goes to see his wife, and she's holding their baby son, Astyanax, the infant. It says, my dear husband, please don't go back to war. This is going to be your death. If you have any compassion for me and your son, you'll stay here. And he weeps for her because he says, I love you and I would want to be with you, but I am a Trojan man and I can't slink away from the war like a coward. I have to go to battle. I'm destined to go to battle. So it shows that he's torn. He wants to be with his wife, whom he loves, and he also wants to be a good warrior. And now in this scene, he's holding his helmet, and that frightens the baby who cries. It's a really sad scene because it's very symbolic. The baby's crying at the helmet, which is a symbol for war, and this symbol for war may be the cause of death of other future babies, like Astyanax. They're going to die in battle possibly if they don't stop this. So he then leaves for battle knowing that he may never get to see his wife and his son again. So I think book 6 is really important. And I pulled out a couple of interesting notes here for you if you're trying to use primary citation if you want to argue that. At one point he says, I tell you this, no one escapes his fate. Not a coward, not a brave man. We both have a destiny, and I have to meet this destiny. So book 5 and 6 show kind of the capricious nature of the gods, how Hector loves his family, and also shows Andromache as a juxtaposition or a foil to Helen. Trying to hurry so I can meet the 15-minute mark. In book 7, Hector and the gods all want to end the battle for a day, so he asks, I wonder if one of the Greeks would like to duel with me. Now this is kind of common. You'll see this in the epic. They almost have like little Olympic games, and they end the book with like Olympic games. So he's saying, well, will somebody duel with me? Let's not battle. Let's just have fun for a day. Would somebody like to duel me? And the Greeks hold a lottery to see who will duel Hector. And Ajax wins. The two duel. There's a tie. They stop for the evening so that people can go and bury their dead. And they exchange gifts for one another. Why that's important is it shows Xenia. So you've got two enemies, a Trojan and a Greek. They're dueling with each other, and at the end of it, when they're a tie, they give gifts to each other, because it shows you that Zeus protects that notion of Xenia. You've got to be a good guest, and you've got to be a good host. So they were supposed to, burying each other. They're trying to bury their dead for the evening, and the Greeks have an idea. They'll say, if you just give us Helen back, Paris, we'll call it end of the war. And he says, no, I won't give her back, but I'll give you some money. To which they're not going to do that. They want Helen back. So they say, okay, we're in for the long haul. We're going to build a wall around our camp. In Book 8, you see Zeus kind of chastising the gods, telling them to stay out of the battle. He says, in fact, I've weighed both sides, and I think Troy's going to win. So he makes the Greeks run in terror. So this is the first time we've seen the Greeks not winning the battle, and that's because Achilles is gone. So even though the battle goes back and forth, the Trojans are winning. In fact, they're so sure they're going to win, they start lighting fires around the camps at night because they think the Greeks are so afraid of them that they're going to run away to their ships and go home. So they're lighting campfires so the Greeks can't run away in the darkness. So it kind of shows this book shows how the gods are sneaking around, trying to help their pet people, and the Greeks are definitely losing without Achilles. And because they're losing, Agamemnon is crying. He knows he's going to win this war. He doesn't want to lose. This is at Book 9. Book 9 is a very important book. So Diomedes, a Nestor, a wise Greek scholar, if you will, tells Agamemnon, you could win this battle if you'll just apologize to Achilles and have him come back to the war. Well, he's not ready to face Achilles himself, so he says, I tell you what, if Odysseus, Ajax, and Phoenix will go apologize to Achilles and offer him some gifts, maybe that will work. You can see this isn't going to work, because not only has he given a really weak apology, he doesn't even do it in person. So when Odysseus, Ajax, and Phoenix go to Achilles' tent, say, hey, will you come back to battle? Agamemnon's going to give you riches, and he'll even let you marry his daughter. Achilles says, no, the last time he gave me a gift was Briseis, and he took her from me. So I don't trust him. I'm not going back to battle. Matter of fact, if I go back to the war, I'll probably die young. And I've been thinking about it, and I kind of want to grow old. And that's interesting, because right now Achilles is saying, I want to grow old, and I want to live a long life. And later on, he's going to change that. Which brings us to Book 10. So that same night, after Achilles says no, he won't go back to the battle, and Agamemnon despairs because he thinks he's going to lose. The Greeks decide they're going to have to send a spy into a Trojan camp to get information because they can't win without Achilles. So they send Diomedes into the camp. The Trojans, at the same time, decide that they should send a spy named Dolon into the Greek camp to get information. And so Dolon runs into Diomedes and Odysseus. And they basically torture him for information about where all the Trojan camps are. He begs for his life. He gives them the information but says, please don't kill me. And they don't listen to him, so they kill him. So Odysseus is shown to be kind of ruthless, if you will. The two then go into the camp. They kill a bunch of men. They steal their chariot. They return home and say, look, even though we don't have Achilles, we've got some information, and the tides are turning in this battle. That's the end of Book 10. I know that was a lot. It was really quick. Here's what we need to do for Friday. You know what groups you're in and what you need to present. We're going to try to present all of the books for Friday. So please make sure that you have major plot points, some themes, things like that. Also, if you want more information, you can look on Jupiter Grades under those summary charts. And I'm going to send you an email with the quiz and what's expected for you on Friday. Thank you so much for being so patient and listening to a very fast video. You guys have been amazing. I will see you Friday, I promise, because even if I don't have a voice, you guys can present in class. I'll be fine. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good week.